Hello, isn't it rather impressive how far 3D printing has come? We used to be able to 3D print basic objects. Now we're 3D printing organs and meat out of plant byproducts, which is rather interesting, but for the everyday person, it's not exactly feasible. So I'm going to teach you how to find a file and print it on a basic everyday 3D printer that you can commonly buy. So let's get started, shall we? First, you'll want to go to your search engine of choice and go to your preferred 3D printing site. For me, that is Thingiverse, which I already have open. And you will go through and find a file you would like to 3D print. You will select that file to open it and download. Once download, you'll want to go to your computer files. Once in your files, you will want to go to your downloads. Once in your downloads, you will want to open, downloads. And you will want to open the file you've selected. For this demonstration, I already have picked this print. So once you move all the components for this print over from your downloaded file, you'll move it to your 3D print file, which you will want to create by making a new file. Because in this file, your slicer will not recognize it, so you will want to move it to your own file. And you will want to make sure you go to File and not Images, because if you select the downloads and the image, you will just get images and not the 3D item. So you'll want to go into File, select them all, and then move them into your 3D prints, which I have already done. They are right here. So you will then want to open your slicer, which is what you will use to create the image in the file to 3D print. Oops. So it is currently up and down. I do not want this because if we change the side we view, you will notice there's a lot of open holes. And I do not want to waste a whole bunch of filament filling in those holes with supports. So I will change the orientation of the print by rotating it. You can use the preset rotations, or you can use the circles. I'm going to do the circles real quick. Once I have rotated it to the flat on the base, I shall then double check the scaling to make sure it's the scale I want. If it is too big, it will not print, but it will print because there is spacing around the sides. You do not want to go past this gray line, as if you go past this gray line, it will not allow you to print the file. So, since everything is fine, it is now has the most surface area on the plate and is not extending past the gray box, I will select Slice. And as it slices, I have pre-prepped my 3D print USB and the SD card. Once it has sliced, you want to save it to removable, which is the USB. And once it is done that, you'll want to hit eject. If you remove it before ejecting, you can run into some issues with your computer. Once you have selected that, you can remove your SD card and put it into your printer. Once in your printer and your printer is on, you want to prepare it for 3D printing. You'll go to the Prepare. Go down to Auto Home. It will find your 0x, your 0y, and your 0z. This is your home spot where everything starts printing. And you'll also want to make sure your printer nozzle is not touching the build plate. Once that is all done, you can head to preheat your filament. Since I am using PLA filament, I will automatically use the preheat PLA, which will heat up my nozzle and bed plate to the correct temp. Once that is going, I shall refill my print with the filament, which I do by taking the filament, feeding it through the extruder, and then it'll go through this and go to your extruder. I will do that real quick and I will be back. Now that I have fed my 3D filament in through my feeder and into my extruder using this knob, which feeds the filament, I will make sure that the filament comes out the bottom, which it already has. Next, I will want to clean off my build plate and move this back to its housing, which is against the clip. So, to clean your printer, you will use isopropyl alcohol to make sure it is clean so your print will stick. If it does not stick, use glue or hairspray. I don't have that issue, so I will not be needing that. Once the bed plate is clean, you can eventually go back to the home page and go to print. And then you want to select your file. For this print, it will be this file. And then it shall start. It will take a second to make sure everything's heated up. And then it will start to print. And that's the basics of how to start a print. Have fun 3D printing!